Please don't make fun of me for this. How do you know where to place your pain on a scale of 1 to 10? The scale is purposely subjective. A big reason for it is to see how bearable the pain is for you so your doctor can decide what, if you need pain management. At a 3/4, maybe some Advil. 9/10, probably something a little harder and likely a bigger underlying issue. The biggest reason they're asking that question is to try to figure out what they need to do about your pain. So if that helps you, base your answer on that instead of actually trying to quantify your pain. If it's 1 to 3, you're a little uncomfortable and you could probably be helped by being repositioned or resting the body part that's hurting. If it's 4 to 5, you might need that, plus an ice pack or a heating pad or some over-the-counter pain medication. If it's 6 to 7, anything you can do at home probably won't cut it. You might need a stronger medication or a muscle relaxer or something. And if it's not obvious what's going on, they probably need to run some tests. If it's an 8 to 9, you can barely tolerate it and you need immediate help, strong pain meds. Tests to find out what's happening. Maybe stitches or a cast or surgery. If you're at a 10, you are probably in need of IV pain medication and possibly emergency surgery right this minute. If it goes on much longer, you might go into shock. So they need to get their asses in gear. Take it as a percentage how much you'd rather wanna die than sit it out. Sorry if someone already posted it here, but this past week, someone else posted in our Nursing the Mankowski Pain Scale. The Mankowski Pain Scale ratings and descriptions are as follows. 0 pain-free, 1 very minor annoyance, occasional minor twinges. No medication needed, 0.2 minor annoyance, occasional strong twinges. No medication needed, 0.3 annoying enough to be distracting. Mild painkillers are effective. Aspirin, ibuprofen. 4 can be ignored if you are really involved in your work, but still distracting. Mild painkillers relieve pain for 3 to 4 hours. 0.5 can't be ignored for more than 30 minutes. Mild painkillers reduce pain for 3 to 4 hours. 0.6 can't be ignored for any length of time, but you can still go to work and participate in social activities. Stronger painkillers. Codeine, acetaminophen, hydrocodone. Reduce pain for 3 to 4 hours. 0.7 makes it difficult to concentrate. Interferes with sleep. You can still function with effort. Stronger painkillers are only partially effective. Strongest painkillers relieve pain. Extended release form of oxycodone. Morphine. 8 physical activity severely limited. You can read and converse with effort. Nausea and dizziness set in as factors of pain. Strongest painkillers reduce pain for 3 to 4 hours. 0.9 unable to speak. Crying out or moaning uncontrollably, near delirium. Strongest painkillers are only partially effective. 0.10 unconscious. Pain makes you pass out. Strongest painkillers are only partially effective. TBH. I realized that I have a pretty high pain tolerance after getting a bunch of piercings and working through some serious menstruation cramps. And so at the doctor's, unless it's a paper cut, I start the scale from 5 to 10. 5 being what I consider an ouchie pain gets a reaction that a person with a lower pain tolerance would consider maybe a 4 to 5, and 10 being, save me now, please. My modified pain scale. For those who live with chronic pain. 1 to 3. As much a fantasy as magic and unicorns. 4 to 6. I live here. This is where pain management keeps me baselined. It interferes with daily function, but I push through the best I can. 7 to 9. Delirium. I'm on autopilot. Can't think. Can't communicate. Just going through motions that seem familiar. 10. Screw everything. I'm going to bed. Or the hospital. Which of those depends on how concerned others around me get. Well, since I just had yet another surgery on my right hip. You learn over the years how to rate your pain. After my surgery, when I woke up in recovery, I was definitely a 10. However, I'm comfortable around 6/7 area. That's me personally after years and years of living in pain. The 24th of July 365. But to each they know their own threshold for their own pain emo. A1 is like a muscle ache. But again, my muscle aches can be much different from yours. 1 is Captain Crunchbits slightly stabbing the roof of my mouth. 10 is getting my dick stuck in a wood chipper with my brother annoyingly talking about his nerdy ass EverQuest games. Anything in between isn't that bad. 6 to 9 is also terrible. 2 to 4 is like meh. Could be better. 10 is vomiting, passing out, barely able to speak. Like after you step on a Lego. What was helpful to me was seeing 5 as the tipping point. Up till that, I'm increasingly uncomfortable. After 5, we're in real pain land. And I increasingly can't do ADLs, activities of daily living. 6 and 7. I need a rest after doing anything. 8 to 9, I'm not doing anything but crying. 10, I need a ride to the hospital. Meds. And someone talking me down from panic. I've always heard that they also use it to gauge changes. Like if you were a 3 but now you are a 7, something has changed. Or if you were a 7 and now you're a 1, the medicine is working. Good question. I always get irritated when they ask me that. It's mostly so they can feed their computer with quantitative data. But how can it be meaningful? Low, medium, and high is about as close as I can get. I hate 1 to 10 scales for things that are entirely subjective. I can give a number, but what does it really tell you? You'll be hard-pressed to see me label something a 10 because in my mind I can think of things that seem like they would hurt worse, so I've gotta save a 10 for that kind of pain. But if you don't know me or haven't treated me before, you don't know that. So if I tell someone my pain is an 8 or 9, but they do not know that I've never given a 10 to pain including labor, C-section, or kidney stones, do they realize just how bad that 8 is? Also, there is no standard, so I'm sure one patient's 10 can be another patient's 3. So what do the numbers really tell a healthcare professional that is useful? Asking me for a 1 to 10 just stresses me out. That pain scale isn't really reliable since it doesn't really have a frame of reference. Some use how many years you would take off your life to get rid of the pain. But be careful with where you use this and explain the context of why you're saying that. When my friend's mom went to the ER, she told the doctors she would take 20 years off her life to get rid of the pain she was in. Then they put her in the psych ward for suicidal thoughts. You aren't allowed to put people in the Fitch ward, suicide watch on anesthetics or painkillers, so she was just stuck there in terrible pain. My friend yelled at the doctors until they did their jobs and checked her out, and it turned out her stomach was hemorrhaging, so yeah. Very not good. I have Asperger's. And being on the spectrum can seriously compromise your ability to recognize a source of pain. It varies from person to person, obviously. My wife knows when I'm in pain before I do by listening to my breathing. I've been sat in front of my doctor knowing my elbow hurt, but not able to say where on my elbow it hurt for him to put an injection in the best place. If you're having to close your eyes to limit the external stimulus to help you deal with your pain, I'd suggest you're at an 8+. When I was 14, I had spinal fusion surgery, which is considered to be one of the most painful one can have. However, when the nurses approached me and asked me how much it hurt on a scale of 1 to 10, I said, tears in my eyes, 4. Because I was me assuring 1 is no pain, and 10 is the worst possible pain a human could endure. Since spinal fusion probably did not near the amount of suffering involved in Say, spaghettification. I figured a 4 would be accurate despite the fact that it was still abysmally painful. The best thing to do is put 1 in. This pain is mildly annoying but not debilitating, and 10 in. I can't take this at all and need medical assistance to stop feeling this pain as soon as possible. Me personally, I say a 1 to 4 is a slight discomfort like a bruise or slight ache. Stubbed toe. 5 to 7 is something like mild pain. Slight limp when walking. Hurts to swallow. Headaches. Blood bruises. Etc. 8 to 10 is like burning sensation. Sharp pains. Hurts to speak. Stiff, immobility. Etc. Think of it as the strongly disagree, strongly agree scale. This is the worst pain I've ever experienced, is the statement. Those things are vague AF. When I was having a baby without meds, I said 6 to 7. Because I figured 10 was passing out from agony. Went up to about 9 towards the end. Then I saw the pain chart, with the 1 to 10 figure and 10 is only a face crying? It is pretty relative. 1 is a minor annoyance I can function normally, easily ignored a stuffy nose. 2 still a minor annoyance, still function less easily ignored sore throat. 3 still minor, more aggravating. Can function but with size or small massages. Not easily ignored stiff neck. 4 slightly aggravating. Functions doable but unwanted. Cannot be ignored sinus headache. 5 aggravating pain. Functions becomes labored. Unignorable like the first day of the flu. 6 constant aggravating pain. Functioning becomes much harder. Unignorable, a bad burn or smashing but not breaking your finger in a car door. 7 to 9 depends on your pain threshold. I say they are all constant extreme pains and unignorable. 7 I can go through the motions but it begins to take mental and physical toll on me, food poisoning. 8 I cannot function but I know I've felt worse, a full-blown flu. 9 This is very comparable to the worst I've ever felt, broken bones. 10 I have never felt worse in my life personally, this is reserved for cramps and cluster headaches.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. TooAfraidToAsk is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.